Yes, I'm going to hide behind the podium because if what I think is going to happen happens, you guys will be far enough away where we won't be able to see it. We gather here tonight under circumstances that none of us ever dreamed would occur. In fact, I think I speak for everybody in this room when I describe it as a nightmare that none of us ever wanted to experience. My deepest sympathies to the family of Police Officer Carlos Puente-Morales, Senora Roseo, Alejandro, Samara, Austin, Sophia, Noah, and all the family and friends. I know these words provide little comfort for what you're feeling tonight, but I hope you understand that all those here share in your heartache. Last night I thought about what I would say, and I thought I had it ironed out. And then today I had a long conversation with Senora Roseo and Alejandro, and that threw everything out of whack because she taught me a lesson. Those are included in the words here tonight. It seems almost selfish and short-sighted to refer to our fallen friend as Officer Puente-Morales, because Carlos was so much more than that. He's a father, a son, a brother, a loved one, a soldier, and a friend to many people because of the lives he touches. There's no one term that would accurately describe Carlos. The closest I can get would be loyal servant. You see, virtually everything that inspires Carlos involves around a life of service. From his family to his occupation, Carlos has people that depend on him. Not just for the basic necessities, but for all those things that most take for granted. Things like protection, freedom, order, and liberty. Things that simply happen behind the scenes for most people, but they become very real when you put on a uniform. Carlos doesn't take his service lightly. His service to our country, a task that most people are unwilling and unable to fulfill, is something that he is proud of. Campaign medals, combat infantry badge, meritorious unit commendation, just to name a few. His service as a police officer to the city of Ottumwa and the city of Des Moines gave him tremendous satisfaction and a very bright future. He's proud of who he is and what he does, regardless of the risks, regardless of the criticism and the sacrifice. It's one thing to serve, it's a whole nother thing to be good at it. It takes commitment. Officer Puente-Morales showed up on the doorsteps of the Des Moines Police Department ready to go. Having been well trained by the Ottumwa Police Department, he hit the ground running, community-oriented, engaged, friendly, sincere, a smile that seemed to be permanently affixed to his face. All the qualities were there, we just needed to turn him loose, and turn him loose we did. Although his time was cut short, his actions and his attitude are infectious, and it will have a lasting impact. When describing his life of service as both a police officer and a soldier, Carlos explains to his mother that he would lay down his life for his brothers and sisters. Coming from Carlos, those are not just words. It is real. How many people here can truly say that? Search your heart and soul and tell me, are you seriously willing to pay that price? Carlos was, and he knew that there would be eternal peace at the end if and when that time comes. I had the opportunity to talk to Carlos' mother, Senora Roseo, and her brother Alejandro this morning. When referring to police officers, firefighters, and military personnel, Senora Roseo made a comment that made me think. This is what her comment was. We honor them when they have fallen, but they are also heroes while they are living. Senora Roseo gave me a lesson that I wasn't expecting. And she's exactly right. We oftentimes take for granted some of the things that just happen all around us. We don't take the time to think about how or why it gets done or even who did it. We forget about all that has become routine. The tragic circumstance that brings us here today should be our wake-up call. What is routine can turn horrible in an instant. What is familiar to us won't always be safe. What is common can certainly come unraveled. As Senora Roseo told me today, we shouldn't wait for a tragedy to recognize our heroes. With that in mind, I want to start by addressing the men and women of the Des Moines Police Department. from the command staff on down, sworn and civilian. The grace and dignity and professionalism in which you have handled this horrific mess is nothing short of impressive. Without people like you to stand strong, shoulder the load, take care of the details, take care of each other, I shudder to think where we would be as an organization. I couldn't be more proud of all of you. To our firefighters, EMS, military, and other public safety personnel, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for what you do day in and day out. I don't want your job. I know my limitations. But it brings me peace and security knowing that you are able and willing to do what it takes to keep us all safe. Thanks for who you are and what you do. Senor Rosell, thanks for the lesson. I know there are heroes in this room that appreciate it. Puente-Morales prepared himself spiritually for this moment, a moment that came too soon, a moment that came under the wrong circumstances, a moment that we don't understand and leaves us hurting, a hole in our heart that will never completely heal. As I wrote these words, some of you may have noticed, I avoided referring to Carlos in the past tense. There's a reason for that. Those who know him understand that because of his spiritual preparation and his relationship with God, his life of service will continue on. There is no doubt that he will work tirelessly as we go about our earthly lives to give us strength, courage, and inspiration to carry out our work. Carlos Puente-Morales is many things to many people, the most important of which is loyal servant. It captures the essence of everyone and everything in his life. John teaches us in the gospel, greater love hath no man than this, that he lay down his life for others. Today I learned a lesson from Senor Rosell, that we should never take each other for granted. We would all be doing ourselves a great service if we would take a lesson in life from Carlos Puente-Morales. God bless Carlos.